A warm welcome to yet another package of our weekly magazine show, the Sunday Magazine. I am Ifoma Ojinta, your anchor. On today's episode, we shall be bringing to your viewing delight spiritual messages from the pulpit and other captivating stories. Now, some believe that a lot of people live above their means in the nation's capital, which is seen as portraying a fake life. This will be part of our package. We also have a story which highlights the importance of eating breakfast and not forgetting our regulars, entertainment, weekly news wrap, and of course, sports. All this and more in a moment. Please stay. Thanks for staying. And we begin from the presidency, where President Bola Tinubu has approved the nomination of Dr. Jamila Bayo Ibrahim to serve as a Minister of Youth, pending her confirmation by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In a statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Anjorin Gelale, the President has further approved the nomination of Mr. Ayodele Olawande to serve as the Minister of State for Youth, pending his confirmation by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. President Tinubu charges the above-mentioned nominees to ensure that they consistently reflect the dynamism, innovative zeal, and unyielding productivity that are synonymous with the young people of Nigeria as they discharge their duties. Now, the need for Christians to believe that it pleases God that they prosper in all spheres of life has been stressed with a charge that they stay in the consciousness of this fact. Charity Zaka covered Sunday church service. She brings us the report.
At this Sunday's church service, worshippers' attention is being drawn to the knowledge that the promise of God to believers to live and be successful is His desire for His children, and that God is ever stationed to fulfilling His promises. Reverend Udochi Majesty Adikanwa of the Restoration Life Assembly states that the church has to be deliberate to assessing the breakthrough.
God cannot do what we can do. So He can only do what we cannot do. Where we stop, God comes in. When you are given into unhealthy competitions, you will lose competence. And so we should imbibe the power of hard work, the power of competency, the power of celebrating one another, because when you do, you see yourself having joy.
Meanwhile, at Christian Teaching Center, Christians were enjoined to cast their burden on Jesus. Bishop Mike Akpami reminded Christians of the fact that nothing is impossible with God.
Man on his own, especially in our country, cannot bear his burden, and he needs the help of a greater being. And that greater being is God. And if God can handle our situations for us, then why don't we side in with Him so that He helps us bear the burdens?
Intercession prayers for the church in Nigeria largely offered.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration says it will always give the much-needed support in every possible way available to help make the lives of people with HIV and AIDS more meaningful and worth living. Acting Secretary, FCT Social Development Secretariat, Justina Power, said this at the HIV/AIDS Empowerment for Income-Generating Activities and Skill Acquisition in Abuja. Ifeanyi Ezumba reports that more than 50 people benefited.
This empowerment marks the third of such activities in 2023. The Secretariat, through the HIV unit, has engaged in different trainings and skill acquisition programs for persons living with HIV/AIDS, community-based organizations, and various support groups. The Acting Secretary, FCT Social Development Secretariat, Justina Parr, revealed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has shown determination to support people in this category by recently adding social welfare to the Ministry Ministry of Health a most welcome development.
As soon as we finish training group of people, like you can see sewing machine, we just finished training about 10 of them, and they know how to sew very well. So we decided to empower them. When you train somebody, you give him something that will continue on the skill.
Head of the HIV unit, Dr. Ene Okoro-Nwachinemere, said they are always ready to lend their voice to the fact that every Nigerian deserves to be encouraged.
Empowerment and income generating activities to people living with HIV/AIDS in the FCT and have something that I can rely on at any given time.
The beneficiaries speak.
So I'm so excited that my VC is a beneficiary of this program.
I used to be lonely, I used to be bored, but since when they gave me the machine, they said I should go for tailoring for 6 months.
The acting secretary used the opportunity of the empowerment to call on spirited individuals to support these people with either cash or in kind to augment whatever the government is able to do.
The Phoenix Rising Foundation, a humanitarian non-governmental organization, has advocated for quality education and entrepreneurial skills for young girls for meaningful growth into womanhood. This advocacy came to the fore at a workshop it organized in partnership with Strefers Foundation to encourage and impact 50 selected girls affected by the crisis in Kaduna and Plateau State. Abdul Wahab Babakete reports.
This ovation is a demonstration of self-fulfillment by these 50 girls who were displaced as a result of crisis in their various communities. This follows the rich and impactful presentations on education and entrepreneurship skills, as well as well-being and healthcare by the resource persons.
It's been so wonderful and I love it. The way they spoke to us about entrepreneurship, education, how female children are being discriminated from being educated, and also being what you want to be, businesswomen.
How to be a good girl like this, and I also learned how to make my life, how to earn a good life, how to make life easy for me in my life.
In their separate presentations, the resource persons charged the girls to live upright and exemplary lifestyles.
That's why when you get an education, what do? You have a table at the center of decision making. You can go into politics, you can go into any field. Whatever it is being called, you can go into it so that what? You will sit down and you are able to what? Contribute. And so you will not be marginalized. Women will not be given what? Women will not have decisions that are only male-dominated.
Founder of Phoenix Rising Foundation says she drives joy and happiness in touching the lives of people, particularly those in need.
This foundation was founded on the grounds of being that person for people who are less privileged in our society. So Phoenix Rising Foundation, the message behind it is a phoenix being reborn, coming out of the ashes. So that speaks to anyone going through anything in life, to know that they have another chance. As long as you're alive, as long as you're living, whether you've gone through different trauma, different traumatic experience, just know that your time is coming and you shouldn't deter from whatever goals you have set for yourself.
Hopefully, it will give them a new beginning from where they found themselves. We've done that with many other children, victims of Boko Haram, victims of Fulani aggression in villages. We've done that with many of them.
Each of the 50 girls went home not only with entrepreneurial knowledge, but packages.
Marked and celebrated every 17th September, the World Patient Safety Day calls for global solidarity and concerted action by all countries and international partners to improve patient safety Cecilia Julius reports on Health Experts' view on the essence of the day.
World Patient Safety Day 2023 observed 17th September under the theme Engaging Patients for Patient Safety is in recognition of the crucial role patients, families and caregivers play in the safety of healthcare. Through the slogan, Elevate the Voice of Patients, the World Health Organization calls on all stakeholders to take necessary action to ensure that patients are involved in policy formulation and are active partners in their own care.
The major backbone of medical ethics, apart from the autonomy, is beneficence. Okay, healthcare practitioners have to prescribe drugs that are beneficent to the patient, and we also talk of null maleficence, which is doing no harm in whatever means to the patient. And then, of course, we need to also emphasize the other parts, which is include justice. If any patient is subjected into any undue harm, such a patient has a right to seek redress through the proper channel. And it's also important for healthcare givers all across the world to know that treatment and healthcare is patient-centered. Patients have to be aware. They have to be able to make an informed decision about the treatment they want and the treatment they do not want.
Experts maintain that patient safety can be achieved by providing platforms and opportunities for diverse patients, families, and communities to raise their voice, concerns, expectations, and preferences to advance safety, patient-centeredness, trustworthiness, and equity.
Now, there is this perception by outsiders that some residents of the Federal Capital Territory portray a fake lifestyle and in most cases live above their means. Do you share same perception? Well, curious about this, Mariam Jojutubo sought opinions.
Are you being true to yourself and the values you hold most dear? Or are you spending your precious time trying to be who others say you need to be, do what others say you need to do by pretending to be who you are not? These are traits outsiders claim many residents of the FCT portray. Abuja, the nation's capital, is viewed as an expensive city with high cost of rent and transportation, which many average Nigerians cannot afford. Many claim that, despite the high cost of living, some residents of the FCT are not being true to themselves as they struggle to pay rent, put their children in expensive schools, drive flashy cars, all in a bid to belong, while debts keep accruing. But how true is this?
The young generation are also running away from the reality of life. They don't have patience to wait for their time. That subjects a lot of Nigerian youth into unnecessary lifestyle that are not supposed to be ordinarily. Some youths delve into criminality, some into prostitution because they are living larger or they want to live like somebody who started 30, 40 years ago.
Of course, there are people living fake lives. That one is certain. You could see that there are some people, they can't afford a particular accommodation. They just want to be among the big shots. So, and then some people believe that you have to live in the city, in the heart of the city, even though they can't afford it. They'll go to any extent to make sure that they get that money. Some people, you see them wear things, they just want to belong to the group. They borrow, they do all sorts of things to just make sure they get used to that lifestyle.
Many people are there. In fact, I've encountered a lot of them. When you are approaching like this, you think, no, they have. By the time you get closer to them, you know that, no, they are not actually exactly what they are.
There are people that is their way. They have chosen, no matter how you advise them, they have chosen to live that way. And the only things that can help, everybody should have the fear of God.
However, it seems to be the case of different strokes for different folks.
So is there any fake human being
That's the question I will ask you. If there is fake human being, how do they look like? So my perception that there is fake people in Abuja, I disagree.
Although most times people want to craft a unique or cool image about themselves, but many pointed out that living a fake life is like borrowing from one's account or eating junks where you cannot get enough. As no matter how much you eat of junk food, it is not satisfying.
Thank you very much, Mariam. Now, breakfast literally means to break the fast. It is the first meal of the day after a stretch of not eating overnight. Breakfast is often described as the most important meal of the day. Now, the fundamental question is skipping this morning meal really detrimental to health? Francisca Bile, in this special report, seeks expert opinion on the importance of eating breakfast.
Woke up this morning, been very busy with work. In fact, I had overnight leftover work, so I needed to put that report together before doing other things. And then I feel maybe I should just quickly do that. Breakfast will take a lot out of that work.
Studies show that prolonged skipping of breakfast may lead to death, as well as obesity and type 2 diabetes. Breakfast earned its title as the most important meal of the day back in the 1960s, where American nutritionist Adele Davis suggested that to keep fit and avoid obesity, one should eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. FCT residents say breakfast provides the body with important nutrients to start the day and makes one feel energized and nourished.
Breakfast is very important, especially being a breastfeeding mother, because whatever I eat, the baby eventually eats for me too. And if I do not eat breakfast, the baby will also be hungry.
The stomach secretes acid, and this acid requires need food to assist in digestion. And that's why you see most people complain of ulcer. Though hunger, it doesn't cause ulcer, but it increases the risk of having ulcer.
I do advise people, breakfast helps to stimulate your brain to make you function at an optimal level. So unfortunately, I'm defaulting myself.
Public health nutritionist and nutritional epidemiologist Florence Ngozi Uchendu says breakfast replenish one's supply of glucose, boosts the energy level and alertness, while also providing other essential nutrients required for good health.
You are expected to eat breakfast 2 hours after you woke up. Imagine if you do not eat breakfast in a day and you continue, you are in the habit of skipping breakfast. Number one is that it even slows down the metabolism in the body, and the person is at risk of even adding more weight.
The respondent advised those watching their weight not to skip breakfast, but rather reduce the quantity of food and exercise regularly.
Many thanks, Francisca. Let's now bring you entertainment news.
Netflix has released the trailer for Kunle Afolayan's movie, which takes us on a chaotic adventure journey. The movie follows 4 teenage youths from the rural village of Oyoeke in southwest Nigeria who stumble on a pouch of diamonds. Things get chaotic. The owners of the diamond return in search of who dared take their treasure, and now the teenage youths must come face to face with a lot of chaos as regards the diamonds as they work together to save one of their friends. The movie is one of the 7 movies unveiled by Netflix in August 2023, as is slated to premiere on the streaming platform come October 13, 2023. This is Afolayan's first feature film since the release of Anikolapo in 2022. On to music, Wizkid attended an exclusive event, and this is the first time he has been spotted since his mother passed away on August 18, 2023. The starboy was present at the opening night of the private view of Gabriella Chanel Fashion Manifesto at the popular Victoria and Albert Museum in London, held on September 13, 2023. Wizkid mingled with prestigious figures at the event taken in the art exhibit. that were not yet open to the public. Chanel couture dresses, textile, photographs and accessories were on display during this. Nigerian music sensation Bella Shmurda has announced the postponement of his upcoming Canadian tour. Bella, who is a close friend of Mohbad, has announced the postponement of his upcoming Canadian tour over what he describes as unforeseen circumstances and sad events. In a post via his ex Twitter account on September 16, 2023, he revealed that he will be announcing new dates in the future. On a sad note, on September 12, 2023, Nigerians were rocked by the news of the death of Nigerian street hop sensation Mohbad, who was only 27 years old. In a new statement released on the afternoon of September 16, 2023, Mohbad's team expressed their appreciation for their heartfelt condolences and concerns from the general public over Mohbad's death. They also promised to cooperate with all relevant authorities in unraveling the circumstances surrounding his death. The hashtag Justice for Mohbad has been trending since the musician's death, as Nigerians continue to call for investigations into the circumstances surrounding his death.
And here is Weekly News Wrap with Charity Zaka.
Good to have you join us on Weekly News Wrap, a segment that reminds you of what has happened within the week. I am Charity Zaka. To begin with this segment, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has received a delegation of leaders from Rivers State. He reaffirmed his readiness to reverse and build a better Nigeria as a country richly endowed with natural resources and hardworking people.
I'm not the president that will give excuses. I want to work hard for our nation, a nation united by a single purpose, development.
Also, a solution to the long-standing farmer-herder conflict seems to be near, as the federal government says it is set to acquire land for ranching across the country, a viable solution. President Bola Tinubu said this as he received report and blueprint from committee members of the National Conference on Livestock Reforms and Mitigation of Associated Conflicts in Nigeria. Still in the week, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has on Tuesday released his roadmap for actualizing the renewed hope mantra of President Bola Tinubu in the nation's capital. This was during the oath-taking and swearing-in ceremony of the newly appointed FCTA mandate secretaries in Abuja.
As mandate secretaries, your role in this journey of transformation is very pivotal. You are not only advisors but also leaders and implementers of our policies.
Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory Administration, in a bid to prevent hazard at workplace, has engaged some of its field workers on the need to be more cautious in the discharge of their responsibilities. The matter of security also featured, as the FCTA have said that any suspected criminal arrested for vandalizing critical components of the rail track of Abuja Light Rail project will be made to face the full weight of the law. Secretary for Transportation Ubokutom Nya stated this during a visit to the scene of the vandalized track at Kukwaba Station in Abuja. And ahead of the anticipated rescheduled national population census with finishing touches on the way, the FCT Office of the Commission has taken its Security and Logistics Committee think tank to the doorsteps of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, written for partnership. As we wrap up this week's episode of this segment, we will not forget to remind you that leaders of the National Union of Road Transport Workers have appealed to warring parties to shield their sword and give room for mediation after factional clash that happened on Tuesday. And this is the much we can take on Weekly News Wrap. It's back to the studio.
Malama, Allah ki bani katin bulo na 1000. Na 1000? Tam. To shikenan yanzu nan zaka ga alat. yake damun ka me aka yi maka kake wannan ihun malam?
Ba dole in ihu ba. Wannan malamar ce na ce ta bani katin gulo na 1000. Ta je ta sa min katin 10,000. Ta ya zan iya biyan wannan?
Wannan ai garabasa gulo take yi. Idan ka saka 1000 za su rubanya maka shi domin ya koma 10,000. Shine muke kira 10 times airtime bonus.
Amma fa abun na kai mamaki.
Abokina ka kwanta da hankalinka. Kaga wannan 10,000 gulo ne ta baka kyauta. That one mean say na 10 times awun we gulo give you.
Kwarai kuwa kai ma za ka iya samun 10 times airtime bonus idan ka sai kati a layin Glo ɗinka. Sai sabon layin Glo.
And we now bring you Sports Brief.
One-time Olympian Funke Oshonoke partnered with Fatima Bello to claim gold medal for Nigeria in the women's doubles event in the 2023 International Table Tennis Federation African Championship on Saturday. Their feat made them the first Nigerians to win a gold medal at the ongoing tournament in Tunis, Tunisia. The ITTF African Championship serves as a qualifying tournament for the 2024 Paris Olympics, but the Egyptians dominated all the events, cutting away with multiple Olympic spots. Seven-time Olympian and African legend Oshoneke came out of retirement to participate in the women's doubles alongside Bello. World number 18 Aruna Kadri and the 2019 African Games champion Olajide Omotayo have progressed into the men's singles semi-finals of the ITTF Africa. Meanwhile, an 11-man Nigerian contingent to the World Wrestling Championship have landed in Belgrade, Serbia to participate in the first Olympic qualifier. The contingent of 6 wrestlers, 2 coaches, 1 medical personnel, and 2 officials departed the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Saturday night aboard the Turkish airline flight and arrived in Serbia on Saturday morning. Receiving the team in Belgrade, President of the Wrestling Federation, Dr. Daniel Igali, says with the exceptional talent and unwavering determination of the wrestlers, he hopes they will be able to secure multiple podium finishes. Expressing confidence ahead of their various matches, Captain of Team Nigeria, Blessing Oborodudu, outlined the team's ambition to excel in multiple categories, including reaching finals and vying for medals. With Sports Brief, Wayne Dogo, NTA News.
And as is on the magazine show tonight, we thank you for being part of it. Let's do this again same time next week. Till then, I remain Ifoma Ojenta. Do have a lovely week ahead.